Hey guys, I am finally back with a review. I know it's been a long time since I've actually showed you guys a review of mine. So I am back with a review, and this one is on Protector by Laurel Dewey, and it's about a detective named Jane Perry who is struggling with a lot of demons from her childhood, and she is forced into a case with a child who is dealing with the murder of her two parents. She's about 9 years old, I believe, and in this case they're trying to get her to remember what happened and solve the case before the people who killed her parents come after her. And in doing so, they put Jane Perry and the child into protective custody until she can remember and the case is solved, which she does reluctantly. So going into this book, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because I started feeling like her whole history was being pushed onto us, but as it went on I realized that having that history, that background, actually made her more understandable. And then when the pieces started connecting, it made perfect sense with her history being there, and so it would just all connect. So you have to be very patient, especially towards the beginning, because although you do get what's going on with the case, it's a lot about her, and the story is about her, but it's also about the case, and so it all connects all together. So you just have to be very patient and just get to know her, because if you didn't know why she was the way she was, you probably wouldn't like her and you probably would hate her, and it was just good to know that there was a reason for who she was. Also, it helped because she was able to connect with the child, and she is a really good person. So the thing with that whole thing was I did feel that the author did go a little bit overboard with Jane Perry's personality. She this very independent, forceful person who you kind of felt like the author was just wanting to convince you so much of her independence and I'm a woman and I'm strong and I can do everything by myself kind of a thing. I felt like maybe she went a little bit too far with it. I'm not really sure. It was just something that kind of brought that to my mind when I was reading this book. But I did like that she was this independent and strong character. She didn't depend on a man. She didn't feel the need to go running after a man. There wasn't that whole swooning over a guy kind of thing. She was independent. She was able to handle herself in any situation most of the time. And so it's kind of like a back and forth thing. It's a balance issue, I think, because it could go overboard for some people, and I did feel myself right at the edge of saying that was too much. But I did appreciate that she made this character independent and strong and on her own. What did annoy me about her especially was her constant put down. She was always putting herself down, always making it out like the world was against her. It was frustrating because that seemed to her so reluctant to do her job, and that was frustrating on another point because as a cop she's supposed to be this person who's always fighting for the truth, even if it makes you do something that you don't want to do, and she should have more strong in that sense that she would do her duty. But a lot of the time I was wondering, like, why is she not doing this? Why is she acting this way? You know you're supposed to be doing this, and yet you're acting like a child in this situation. And yet it was just a really conflicting moment because she was doing her job, she was doing it, she was protecting her, but at the same time there was this whole frustration because she was doing it in a way that she wasn't really doing it. If you get what I mean, you might understand it when you read this book, but she did get better as time went on. And I realized as I'm thinking back on it, it was right at the beginning, and even though she fought against the people in the town and stuff like that, she was trying to a point. I was just don't think that she was doing the best that she could have, and it really kind of pissed me off. Now on to the writing style. I really appreciated the ability to make it very, straightforward, but descriptive enough to keep you right at the edge of your seat, wanting to know more. The writing flowed really nicely, which is something that I really like. It didn't make you feel like you had to stop to try to understand what she said. Her grammar, her writing, her spelling, everything was really, really nice. I felt like she worked really hard to make this story come out in the way that she wanted it. And I can appreciate that, and I appreciate the story. The story itself was wonderful. I love the mystery. This mystery was, oh my gosh. Like how in the film Jaws, when the shark is coming and you hear that music and it goes really, really slow to really, really fast. That was what it was like when reading this book. At first, everything was kind of like slow, and then it started going faster and faster and faster until, boom, you were faced with the truth of what happened and who was behind it all. And what was so amazing was that the person who did it was so obvious. Like, when you look back at it, you're like, oh my gosh, I should have known that the person was behind it. But she hid it so well that you were just like, oh my gosh, that's so shocking. So it's really cool because she kind of does that whole obvious, puts in the obvious place, but makes it so unbelievable that that person would have done it. I actually believed that was this other person who was so couldn't have, but I was so scared that it was. But oh my gosh, everything was surprising at the end, and the pacing was really well done. Like, it wasn't like where the mystery was so slow it dragged, but it was slow enough to keep you kind of going like, oh my gosh, when are we gonna find out? And it just went into this big old crescendo, and I loved it. I love the mystery, and I love the story, and I do like Jane Perry, even though I say that she was annoying. So everything was really well done. I mean, this author, Laurel Dewey, she deserves a lot of props for working this mystery in the way that she did. And looking forward to reading the second book in the series when I have the chance to. So I gave this book a 4.5 stars. And tell me below if you've read this book before and what your thoughts are on it. Also, if you like mysteries, tell me what kind of mysteries you like, any books that you would recommend to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!